G'day everyone, Azza here. Now, I've seen a lot of people commenting on Reddit, in Steam, in the Discord channel about how the graphics in the new update for Squad 44 look like a fucking cartoon. Now, at first I couldn't figure it out, because on my PC the graphics look friggin' incredible. But after seeing a few screenshots, I've played around with some settings and I think I've figured out what's going on here and why your graphics look like trash. So if your graphics look similar to like what's on the screen right now, I know what the fix is and I'm going to tell you. Now, it's a pretty simple fix, and I'm also going to go over some things like what DLSS actually is, how to use it properly, what DLDSR is and how to use that properly in conjunction with DLSS so you get insane graphics plus a performance boost. The first thing we're going to talk about is these fucking clown graphics, these cartoon graphics we've got going on, and how to fix that. So first we're going to go into our graphics settings. Now, I'm doing all this at 1080p because I'm guessing that's the resolution most of you use. So if we look at our settings, you'll see for DLSS and for NIS I have them on quality and ultra quality, and I've also got the sharpness for both of them turned up. Now, I don't blame you for doing this if you've turned these on, because you see a setting that says quality and ultra quality, you're probably going to turn them on thinking it's going to make things look better, when in fact it has the opposite effect. Especially NIS. DLS itself is really useful, but not great at 1080p. But NIS is fucking horrible. As you can see right here, it just looks atrocious. Like, you wouldn't want to play with graphics like this. So we go back into the settings, and I'm just going to click both of them off. So now I've turned them off, we're going to go back to the game, and you'll see the difference it makes instantly. Straight away, the game looks so much better. Now, yeah, you might think it's too bright, fair enough. That's a completely different issue that we're not going to talk about. I can tell you how to fix that later on. But for now, we're just worrying about this cartoon look. So now we've done that, the next thing we need to do is turn on some AA. Now, the two default options you have is FXAA and TAA. FXAA is crap. It'll give you sharp, jagged edges. TAA fixes that, but it makes the game blurry. But then you can use this sharpening slider to kind of counteract that blurriness. So we'll go to TAA and leave the sharpening off for now. And you can see that it's fixed all the jagged edges on the signs, the trees, the vehicles, everything that's got a sharp edge. All the angles, it's kind of fixed them, but it's blurry. So now we're going to up the sharpening. By default it's at 0.5 I think, so we're going to go with that. Now you'll be able to see that that's added some clarity to it. You can go up further, but then at a distance you're going to have like a few jagged edges in the distance. So I wouldn't suggest going to 1, probably 0.5 is probably good enough, but at 1080p you might want to go up to 1. Anyway, the next thing we're going to talk about is the other AA option, which is sitting down under DLSS. So it's not actually a DLSS setting. DLAA is Nvidia's AI version of anti-aliasing. So DLAA is the best of all three settings to use. You turn that on, you'll notice it fixes all those jagged edges, but it doesn't blur the crap out of everything. It's really good looking graphics when you turn DLAA on. So my advice is use DLAA at 1080p. Now, if you have to use DLSS because your frame rate's a bit low or you've got an older card, turn DLSS quality on and then adjust the sharpness slider until you find a setting that you like. Start at 0.5 or below. Don't just set it to 1 because you might get some jagged edges. But DLSS quality at 1080p, I wouldn't advise doing it because you will notice the graphics quality is a bit worse because it's rendering at a lower resolution and then AI upscaling it. But if your frame rate is low, it is a great way to get a performance hit with not losing too much quality wise. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is DLDSR. Now, you don't have to worry about what it does and how it does it, just know that it makes shit look good. So to turn it on, you just go to your Nvidia control panel, so right click on that, load it up, or you can just click on your start button, type in Nvidia and it'll find the control panel. Once you're in the control panel, you need to go to the Manage 3D Settings option, and from there you look in here and you will want to be looking for DSR factors. Now once you find that, click on this drop down and you will have, by default, you'll have none of them ticked. But you want to look for DL scaling, and you want to select either one of these or both. Now I only use 2.25, so I'm going to turn off 1.78, leave 2.25 on, and then you just hit OK. Once I've done that, I've now got DSR on. You can see there's a smoothness option. By default it's at 33, I think, and 33 seems pretty good. You can play with it and it might make it look a bit sharper. It might give you some sort of grainy sharp edges with the AA, but play around with it if you want, but 33 is good, so just go with that. Once you hit OK, that'll reset your GPU, that'll come back on, close that, and now it's time to launch the game. Now you're in the game. To turn it on in the game is, once again, super easy. You just go straight into your settings and then go to video, and now you want to change your resolution. Now for me, 1440p is my monitor's native resolution, but now I've enabled DSR, I've got 2160. So that's the resolution I want to choose for my DSR. So select that resolution, and then also make sure you choose full screen, because borderless or windowed will not work unless you also change your Windows resolution to the DSR resolution, but we're not going to worry about that. So just make sure you select full screen, and then also turn on DLSS quality. Hit apply, done, you're ready to go. Now you'll have the higher resolution, but you'll have the DLSS upscaling, which will help with performance. So it's the best of both worlds, and you will be blown away at how much better the game looks when you do this. So now I've loaded into the Arnhem range, and for this video clip here I've got DLSS turned off. Not that you'd know whether it's on or off, as you'll see in a minute. The DLSS is turned off here, and the graphics look great with this DSR resolution. Now if I go into the video options and I now select DLSS quality, you might have just noticed then that the SSGI just changed. Now that's a little bug that's in the game that hopefully gets patched out at a later date, but keep an eye on it, because when you change some graphics settings, the SSGI will jump up to high or epic by itself. So what I'm going to do now is make sure I choose medium for the SSGI, and make sure my DLSS is set to quality, and we will hit apply and then go back. Now that we've turned on DLSS, the graphics still look great. Rendering at a resolution this high when you use DLSS, you can't really tell. I can't tell at all. Now if we go back into the settings again, once again I'm going to turn off DLSS, hit apply. Notice that SSGI changed again, that bug. Remember to keep an eye on that whenever you change anything, because that will really hurt your frame rate. So DLSS off, just so we can have another look, and you can see it's not too bad. Now this time I didn't put on DLAA or TAA or anything like that, so you can see it's sort of a bit jagged and grainy and stuff like that. So we'll go back and turn on DLAA. Once again, SSGI changed. We'll make sure it's back on medium where I like it. And yeah, it looks good. So with the DLDSR, you're going to have good looking graphics, whether you're using DLSS or not. But if you don't use DLSS, you're going to get a big frame drop. So now I'm going to show you the difference DLSS makes as far as performance goes. So I've loaded into the shooting range here, because when you load into this map, it's not really hammering your CPU. So your frame rate is going to pretty much all depend on your GPU. Whereas if I go to Arnhem range or a different map where it's a bit more CPU heavy, then the CPU might be the limiting factor on checking my FPS. Now it's probably going to be hard to tell, so you're just going to have to take my word for it, because I'm too lazy to edit it and make the FPS counter a bit bigger. But right now I'm hovering around 80 FPS. Now if I go to my settings, you'll see that I'm on this ridiculous 5K ultra wide resolution, and I've got my SSGI on medium. If I turn SSGI off, I will go to about 140 frames per second, but I like to have it on. So we'll go back on and back to about 80 frames per second. As far as DLSS goes, it's off, and I have DLAA on for my AA method. So yeah, around 85 frames per second, which isn't great for a 4080, but I'm at this stupid 5K resolution with SSGI turned on, so you got to take that into account. But now if I turn DLSS quality on and also fix that SSGI because it just bugged out again, hit apply, you'll see that my frame rate has gone straight up to 165, which is the limit for the refresh rate of my monitor currently. So using DLSS, I went from about 80 frames per second to 165, and it doesn't dip below that. So you can see that DLSS does make a massive difference to performance, and like I showed you in that last little video, it's not noticeable to the quality. So you're absolutely mad if you don't use DLSS, especially at a higher resolution. That's why I really recommend that you use DLDSR with DLSS, because rendering at a higher resolution and then using DLSS, you're probably going to get the same performance as rendering at the native resolution without DLSS. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, higher resolution, better quality graphics with the better AA and a better frame rate, why wouldn't you do it? So anyway, I hope this helps a few of you. I hope it helps especially those people that are having issues with the cartoon graphics, because at first I didn't believe that shit, but that looks fucking horrible. So if that's the issue, I hope this helps you fix it. As for the DLDSR and DLSS, I hope you've kind of got a better understanding of how to use it now and how it can actually improve not just your quality but your performance. And yeah, I'll leave it there with this video. If you want some more tips, I can make another video showing you some tweaks you can make in the INI files that'll actually give you even better graphics, options that aren't in the menu. So there's a few things I can do there. Anyway, cheers, take it easy.